Today I'm going to talk about how we scaled our brand from 5 mil last year to 15 mil, then to 30 mil. So last time I mentioned how we basically get to 5 mil in our second year, and then we went from 5 to 15. So that's 600% growth in just 2 years. So combined for our internal brand that I'm going to talk about today and my clients, I spent over $150 million on Facebook ads, and today I'm going to share what got us to that stage. So basically, this is our growth rate. This is last year. We went from 5 mil second year, 16, 31. But I want to highlight that we were valuing profit over growth. So we could grow more. We could grow bigger. But nowadays, when you want to exit, profit is more important than the revenue. So we always have a minimum profit that we want to hit that I'm going to touch base. I just wanted to highlight our growth rate. So I'm going to mention why it's important to know your numbers, which numbers to watch, what's my ad account structure, both for my clients, both for this brand, how I'm leveraging third-party pages and whitelisting, which I consider our secret sauce. I'm going to talk about creatives, why it matters nowadays, like how we are leveraging creatives, angles, iterations, and basically I'm going to share what's working in the ad account now. The most important things to know your targets. This is a tool called Iris, where we basically defining our net target. So I don't care about ROAS, I don't care about MER, blah, blah, blah. I want to take home most amount of money. So when we define our net margin, we can define our contribution margin, which we are tracking on a daily basis. So on a daily basis, I have a number that I need to hit. So you can see in October, we were underpacing, then we outpaced the target. So if I know if I hit that, I'm good. So then that transitioned into MER, into ROAS target in Facebook, then into ROAS target in third-party tracking software where we are using Norbeam. So in October, we decided to run on a break-even. Why? I'm going to mention that later, but I want for you guys to take away that it's not important which ROAS you have. I could have lower ROAS and take more money home. So once we know what we need to hit, I want to emphasize that for me, Facebook ads, and I'm a media buyer, Facebook ads are just a cherry on the top. They are amplifiers. So if you don't have your funnel dialed in, it doesn't make sense for you to run the ads. This is a calculator that I built which tells me where in the funnel I have gaps. How many people proceed from click to landing page view, how many of them goes to product page, how many of them add to cart, how many of them initiate checkout. So immediately I can spot the gaps. Okay, maybe people are not proceeding to the add to cart, so I need to improve my offer or something. So it doesn't make sense to run ads until you have your funnel dialed in. When you have your funnel dialed in, you want to track the numbers on a daily basis. This is a calculator that I built, which basically tells me, and I can spot the patterns in the ad account. There are only 4 metrics that are impacting your ROAS: CPM, click-through rate, AOV, and conversion rate. So when the results are down, let's say here in the 10th of January, ROAS is pretty bad. Okay, what happened? I can see my conversion rate went down, my AOV went down. Okay, what happened? I know we turned the offer that we had because we did not have enough stock, so we removed the discount. Okay, so problem is not actually Facebook ads. It's something on the funnel. So what happened here? I decreased my spend from 40K to 20K because otherwise I'm burning money. So with this conditional formatting on a day-to-day basis, I can spot the patterns and I can troubleshoot bad ROAS. Then, when I know how my numbers are pacing, I can understand to what level I can spend I can understand what ROAS I need to hit based on a different spend target. Because obviously, if you spend 100K, you have ROAS 3, you have 300K of revenue. But the numbers are changing in terms of the profit. So, for example, I can take 100K home in net profit with a spend of 100K with ROAS of, let's say, 3, and I can take exactly same 100K with 400 spent with ROAS of 2. So basically, as you scale, your ROAS target goes down because it's impossible to have the same amount of ROAS as you're scaling. Obviously, it's up to you to decide whether you want to spend 4 times more, which basically means you need more creatives, you need more video editors. Whether it's worth it, that's up to you. But I want you to understand that as you're scaling, your ROAS target should go down. Okay, now we know now we know how much we can spend. Now we know how to troubleshoot. So here's what is important, knowing when to spend. So there's no way you'll be able to spend the same amount of money every day, every month, every quarter. So we know that for us, Q1 and Q4 are the peak seasons. So in Q1, I'm testing way more, I'm spending way more, while in summer, I'm decreasing the number of tests and the budget, because no way I can hit those numbers. What we also realize that it's important for you to have like peaks during the non-season. So let's say Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Labor's Day, you want to create artificial peaks connected to your offer, to your sale, which would then bump the numbers and it would let you survive the bad periods. Another important thing that we realized is that Q4 is massive for us, as for all of the e-com brands. So we realized that in October, we want to run on a break-even to fill the funnel for November and December, because we know all of these people would convert. But why am I spending so much in October? Because the CPMs are 30% cheaper. So I'm reaching way more people in October, and those people would convert in November. So I'm not competing to other people because I already filled the funnel in advance. Obviously, I'm not suggesting for you guys to do that if you don't have some historic numbers and the data. But if your Q4 is big for you, then I suggest to kind of like check the numbers and maybe run this strategy. Not necessarily on a break even, but definitely fill the funnels sooner. Okay, now let's get into the ad account. My ad account structure is very simple, I would say. I have just 2 core campaigns. One is testing campaign, the other is Advantage Shopping Plus with a cost cap. Besides that, I have general campaign where I'm testing some of the additional audiences with the winning ads, and sometimes I have sale campaign when we have a specific sale. It doesn't have impact on the performance, I just isolate it so I can track it better. The goal of this setup is to find a winning creative. If you don't have a winning creative, none of this else does matter. So that's why the most important thing is testing campaign. So basically, all of my tests are done with a broad audience, excluding buyers. My goal is to treat Facebook as an acquisition channel. Basically, I don't want any existing buyer to see my ad. Each of my ad set is a new test. So let's say if I'm launching 15 tests a week, I would have 15 different ad sets in that campaign. Each test is a group either by angle, creator, or concept. Each ad has 3 to 5 different variations because that's maximizing my chances of finding a winning creative. All of my tests are launched on Wednesday. I avoid Monday and Tuesday because they're generally pretty bad for all of the e-com brands. And I want my tests to run on a weekend because weekend is usually the highest performing and it has the highest conversion rate. So in a graphic way, it looks like this. So ad set 1 is, let's say, group by angle. We have 4 ads that are about acne. Then ad set 2 is, let's say, 4 unboxing videos. And then the ad set 3 is like 4 us versus them images. Basically, every has like a couple of variations. My goal is to find a winning ad and then to take it to the another campaigns. So my goal, I'm not testing in a CBO because my goal is not to beat the one winning ad that is getting all the spend. My goal is to get some supporting winners. Supporting winners is something that has a decent ROAS above my target. So basically, in order to scale, I need at least 2-3 good days of good performance. So because one day is a hit or miss, so basically I need a trend, and I need at least 2-3 different creatives that are scaling. If both conditions are met, I'm increasing the budget in my testing campaign. So often, my testing campaign is the highest spending campaign. I just scale wherever the test is. I'm not turning the bad test when I'm moving them to other campaign. It's not that I'm leaving them there. I'm scaling the tests. That's probably one of the biggest takeaway. So you can see here, all of these tests started with $100. Now I have some tests on 3K, 2K, 700, 1K, 750. Basically, each of the individual tests are scaled. As I mentioned, I launch all of the tests on Wednesday. I then get on Friday, I evaluate them. I kill some of the variation inside of the Adsets. I kill some of the tests, and then I let them run through the weekend and evaluate on Monday. By Monday, I probably killed one-third of the tests. One-third of the tests are running with the same budget with turned off variation, but then I scaled one-third of the winners. So basically, people say ABO testing is like forcing Facebook to spend, but yeah, that's my goal. And I think by getting some additional winners, and by scaling these winners, I'm offsetting the bad performance of the bad tests. I would suggest ABO testing if you have generally high percentage of success rate. So basically, if you get 1 out of 10 tests that is winning, then this doesn't make sense. You're going to lose money. Then maybe better it's test in an ABO. But if you have 3 or 4 out of 10, then do ABO because you can scale multiple ad sets. Okay, now that we got a couple of winners, let's say I test 10 tests, I got 3, 4 winners. I would take the post ID of that ad and I would move them to a different campaign. I would not turn it off in the testing campaign. I would test them with some additional audiences. I know people are saying, hey, like, but interest audiences are obsolete. And I would partially agree. This is not something that's very scalable, but it is a nice addition because this way I'm amplifying the winning ad. And their campaign is actually my favorite campaign recently. This is the one, Advantage Shopping Plus with a cost cap. You can see in a month it spent the most. So what's happening here? I'm leveraging my Advantage Shopping Plus for scaling only. I'm not doing any tests. I'm just putting my winning ads. So this is the campaign with probably 20 different winning ads with the post ID because that carries the social proof. I put my cap for buyers between 0 and 5, depending how client is flexible with reaching existing customers. If he wants only new customers, then I put 0. I'm choosing only 1-day click or 7-day click attribution setting because I realize that Advantage Shopping Plus can often do a bit more retargeting. So if it does retargeting, it would get more view conversions that are not incremental. That's why I stick to 1-day click or 7-day click. And I have new Advantage Shopping Plus only for a new product or a new funnel or a sale event. Why? Because I'm leveraging cost caps. So if I have product that's selling for $100 and product that's selling for $200, they have different CPA targets. Then it's impossible for me to combine those products in one campaign because Facebook would serve more on the product that's cheaper. So when you put cost cap target, it may not work and you're going to lose money. But why am I doing it with a cost cap? Again, because conversion rate is way higher on a weekend. So look at this. So the purple line is my testing campaign where I actually scaled as we started adding more tests as they started performing more in January. What I told you, January is my good performing month. But look at this. This is high inflated cost cap that's running on 30K budget and it has a cap. So you can see it does not spend on a weekdays, but what happens on a weekend? Conversion rate is just higher, so it spends it goes like from 5K to 15K. I'm not changing anything. It just spends more. Why it spends more? Because it has a winning ads, and Facebook understands the conversion rate is higher on a weekend, so then it just spikes the spend. That's what I call the weekend scaling. So basically, besides increasing the budget in testing, I'm leveraging this Advantage Shopping Plus, and it spends if it can. If it cannot, I don't care. But if it can spend, because it's impossible for me to anticipate how much I could scale on a weekend. So when I have a high inflated budget and a cost cap on my target CPA, it would just spend more.